Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Fellow artists, hunters. I'm excited and honoured to see so many artists here tonight, answering the call to participate in this art action. I say artists because we are all artists. We are all nodes of consciousness. We are all creative. We are all capable of visualizing and together making a better future. This action is a show of social art at C's Socially Engaged Art Salon. That's the gallery downstairs. Social art is art that engages with people in society. It may be aesthetic, but aesthetics and beauty are not the primary point. The main point is to reflect on who we are and where we are going. This show has already deeply touched people. Artists have travelled from as far as Manchester and Ukraine to bring their art. This is all through an internet tool. They've said that they can't find galleries that are prepared to show art about social subjects, art which touches on the political. So what do we mean by the spectre of the real? I guess most of us have a rough idea. It's a sort of creepy, uncanny feeling that some kind of truth is lurking beneath the surface of everyday life. It's an idea in philosophy that applies to everyday life. It's about reality with a little r and the real with a big R. If we think about the reality of our everyday lives, it's a belief system, an ideology or a consensus that says our everyday consumerism, consumption of propaganda and superficial news, the acceptance of a social hierarchy of hard work and fear, is the best we can do, that there is no choice. We call it realism, the only realistic way. In the words of the Lego movie, everything is awesome. So, if that is reality, what is this real we are haunted by? Mark Fisher, a British philosopher who taught in British schools of further education until his death from a drugs overdose in 2014, put it this way: reality is consumer culture. The real is environmental disaster. French philosopher guru of the 1960s, Jacques Lacan, invented the idea of the real. He said the real is how a baby sees the world before it has words. It is a world of intuition and pure sensation, before we learn to call that warm, nurturing blur mother. It's the world before words and word objects. Yes, this is philosophy, but remember, we were all philosophers in the golden age of social progress from 1917 to 1989. Everybody saw themselves as philosophers, empowered to act and, most importantly, to learn. Education and human rights were expanded. Now we see government removing humanities from educational curriculum. Art and philosophy have been removed from A-level curriculum in the last 3 years. The government tells us we need only to be technologists or scientists. However, education systems for the few continue to teach the humanities, philosophy and art, because that is where the truth is to be found. That is the real. Some examples of reality and the real. Reality says that mental illness, such as depression, is caused by chemical imbalances in the body. The real would say that mental illness is caused by an educational system that demands us to be rich celebrities, when in truth, not everyone can be top dog. The system breeds failure, since people who have lost their faith will more easily accept poor pay and insecurity as their lot. Reality says knife crime is due to mental illness. The real says knife crime is due to social conditions. Reality is the meat counter at Tesco's. The real are the hidden abattoirs in our land. Reality says poverty is due to bad choices. The real says poverty is a necessary condition of the structure of capitalism. Reality says the war on terror is due to bad people. The real says the war on terror is due to capitalism's need for new markets and resources. Reality is organized religion. The real is reflection, meditation, and deep prayer. There is a happy ending. It's a little bit scary, this world of the real. We need something to believe in. We can believe in ourselves. Imagine a world without fear and insecurity. We don't want to go back to the past. The old choices remain: revolution or evolution, change from within or enforcement of dogma, peace or justice. But the days of choosing an ideology are over. They were over in 1989. Each case needs to be considered on its own merits in the local social context. Capitalism and socialism need to live together. The religions need to live together. What is needed is not a new ideology. What is needed is a deep reflection on our own lives as connected to the world and the universe. In other words, meditation, prayer, reflection. In other words, dance, performance, art. Once we can see the real, we can start to do something about it. Every situation will need its own solution. We resolve through deep conversation, deep reflection. And art, in its broadest sense, is reflection with conversation. It is communication of ideas, and we can all do this. This wonderful gathering is going to be the first of many. The Gallery C's, run by the charismatic Gil Mualem, who is away at the moment, will be hosting a monthly art show. So the program is linked with the national program called the Social Arts Network, which was started last year in Sheffield. And on the 25th of April, there will be a meeting at the Tate Exchange aimed at setting up a biannual festival of social art. So we're on the verge of something big here. I also want to thank, Gil, I want to thank him for making his space available. He's not here at the moment because he's at the wall at the moment, protesting. Umit of Euromernet, who's also been very important to getting this show off the ground, is also not here. He's in Calais. I wanted to thank the BMECP. Chandra Khan is here, including Michelle, Pravan and Jim, who's doing the door for us today. I want to thank Elizabeth Eade, who's a very busy artist on her ascent. She's agreed to bring her award-winning art to us. D-List, which has just returned from London from winning its awards, and we are the first place this work is seen in Brighton since it's had its triumphal tour of London. She said, I must support this. Fantastic woman. The Brighton School of Humanities, who have the courage to teach cultural theory in these hard times. And the 25 artists who've all sent their work. As I say, some has come from as far as Ukraine. I would like to thank you above all. My support group, my mum and dad, Marta, Dana, my ancestors, Sudanese, West African Bantu, South African Khoisan, French Huguenot, English colonial. And I'd like to end with a call to all artists, all people, to reflect, meditate, and create. Let us together create a better future through art. Thank you.